Welcome to IIT JEE Advanced Physics Problem Solving Session. Today we are going to solve some problems on electrostatics from previous year's JEE Advanced question papers. So let us work out this problem first. In this problem that was asked in 2011 JEE Advanced, a wooden block performs simple harmonic motion on a frictionless surface with frequency nu0. The block contains a charge plus q on its surface. If now a uniform electric field E is switched on as shown, then simple harmonic motion of the block will be, four options are given. Option A, of the same frequency and with shifted mean position. Option B, of the same position and with same mean position. Option C, of change frequency and with shifted mean position. Of change frequency with same mean position. So basically you have to find out the mean position as well as the frequency after the electric field is getting switched on. So let us solve this problem, and to solve this problem let me assume that the block has mass say m and the spring constant is of the spring is say k. Then if the electric field is not switched on, okay, say before electric field E is switched on, that means in the absence of the electric field, the HSM frequency, simple harmonic motion frequency, it's given by 1 by 2 pi root over k by m. Okay, now let me consider the case when E is switched on. Now E is switched on. Now in this case, what is going to happen? Because of the electric field, this block, which was say earlier in the mean position say O, it would be shifted to this position say O dash, and this it is shifted by distance say x0, and you have this spring is k. The spring would be compressed by an amount x0, but at the mean position, in this new mean position O dash, the block will be in equilibrium. Block is in equilibrium at O dash due to the electrostatic force and the spring force. So electrostatic force is QE and the spring force would be QX0, and therefore you see the mean position is x0 would be simply QE by K. Now let us say this block is shifted by an amount x from its mean position O dash, then the equation of motion would be d2x dt2, and the force would be, one is due to the spring, that would be a k into x, because it is shifted from the mean position by amount x, so therefore this would be the spring force, and there is an external electrostatic force, it would be QE, and you already know that QE is equal to kx0, so therefore you see you have kx minus kx0 plus this one is kx0, so you are having simply kx minus kx. That means I can write this equation as d2x dt2 plus k by m x is equal to 0, and this one is your familiar, your omega square. So because omega square is k by m, or I can just write omega is equal to square root of k by m, and therefore your nu is equal to 1 by 2 pi root over k by m. So this is the same frequency as this one before the electric field is switched on. So I can easily see that option A is the correct one. So simple harmonic motion, the frequency is not getting changed, SSM frequency remaining same, only thing is that its mean position is getting shifted. So only one option is correct in this problem, and that is option A. Now come to this problem. This was asked in 2008 JEE Advanced. Consider a system of three charges q by 3, q by 3 and minus 2 q by 3 at points A, points B and point C as shown in the figure. Take O as the center of the circle of radius r, and the angle CAB is equal to 60 degree. So you have to, the four options are given. The electric field at point O is this much, directed along the negative x-axis, and the potential energy of the system is 0. So these four options are there. So let us work it out. So to do it little bit more in a cleaner way, so let us say, let me denote the charge at position A is, you have q by 3, charge at B is again q by 3, and charge at C is minus 2q by 3. Okay, so you see the electric field. Now you can easily see this is same positive charges at A and B. Electric field at A and electric field at B, they would be in the opposite direction, right? They are same magnitude but opposite in direction. So therefore the resultant electric field will be because of this two charges, resultant electric field at point O due to the charges at A and B would be 0 there. So therefore only the electric field at O would be due to the charge at C. So you can immediately write the electric field at point O would be simply due to the charge at C, which is charge is minus 2q by 3, and the distance is 4 pi. Distance is simply r, radius of this r is the circle of that radius, so it is r square, and this would be along this direction, x cap. So therefore if you simplify it, the answer would be minus q 6 pi epsilon 0 r square x cap. Now if you see the option, in the option it is directed along negative x-axis, but the magnitude is this much, but we are getting it to be this. So therefore option A cannot be the correct one. Now coming to the potential energy of the system. Potential energy of the it's not potential, it's energy. Potential energy of the system, let me denote it by U. It would be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, and I have this combination I have to consider, charge combination QA QB RAB. Let me denote the distance between A and B as RAB, and similarly I can write it for QA QC divided by RAC plus QB QC divided by RBC. Okay, so this is what I have. Now I know QA QB QC, but I don't know I have to find out what is RAB. For example, RAB, RAC, RBC, I have to find out. RAB, the distance, this is the radius, so it is simply twice R. RAB is equal to 2R. And RAC, this angle is given 60 degree, or you know that this angle is also going to be 30 degree, because this guy is 90 degree. So therefore I can from the diagram I can simply write that RAC is equal to RAB sine 30 degree or cos 60 degree. So this is what I have, RAC. Okay, so this would be half RAB, or actually you can write cos 60 degree also, then that is also half. So therefore RAC is simply R, and your RBC, you can apply the Pythagoras theorem. RBC, AB square here, RAB square is equal to RBC square plus RAC square. So RBC square is equal to RAB square minus RAC square, and I know that RAB is equal to 2R, RAC is equal to R. So RBC, you can immediately find out that would turn out to be root 3 into R. So the potential energy would turn out to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. If you put down the value of QA, QB, this is what you should get. Q square first term will give you this one, Q square by 18R. Second term will give you 2Q square and 9R, minus then you have 2Q square 9 root 3R. Okay, and this is obviously not going to be equal to 0. So therefore option potential system is 0. That's not correct. Now come to the option C, the magnitude of the force between charge at C and B. Okay, so basically you have to find out what is your force, right? Force between these 2 points. That would be magnitude wise, it would be simply 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 QB QC divided by the distance, which already we have worked it out. If you put down all these values, then you should be get Q square divided by 54 pi epsilon 0 R square. Alright, so let us see. Yes, this force is Q square, so this one is correct. Option C is correct. What about option D, potential at point O? Now if you see the potential at point O, now it's easy to see that this point is equidistant from all these points A, B and C, and the total charges, if you calculate it, that would turn out to be 0. So therefore potential at point O would be simply 0. It's potential, not potential energy. So potential at point O would be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, that is QA, because they are all of them are equal at distance R. It would be QA by R, QB again it would be R by R plus QC by R. Now you know what is QA and QB equal to are equal, but QC is minus of these charges, twice of that. So therefore if you put down the value, it would turn out to be 0. So therefore option D also is ruled out. So therefore correct option would be simply one option is correct option is C. Okay, so correct option is only C. Okay, let us do another problem. 6 point charges are, this was asked in 2012 JEE Advanced. So if you read the problem, the 6 point charges are kept at the vertices of a regular hexagon of side L and center O as shown in the figure. Given that K is equal to this much, which of the following statement is or are correct? So more than one option may be correct. So let us find it out option by option. So let us solve it. So first of all, the electric field at O. So the electric field at the point O would be, you have to calculate it due to the all this pair of charges. So if I write the electric field at O, first of all let me say due to charges at say A and D. Okay, what about the force due to A and D? And you see, this is a at A, charge is here positive charge, so the force would be force at let me write it like this, force at O due to A, okay, that would be 2q, I'm writing the magnitude first, 2q divided by 4 pi epsilon 0, the distance is L, right? So it is 2q 4 pi epsilon naught L square. Now if I go by the symbol here, it is q by 4 pi epsilon 0, L square is denoted by the symbol k. So in that short notation, I can write it as 2k. So this force is along at the point O, it would be along OD due to charge 2q. Similarly, if you look at the charge at minus 2q, at D, sorry, that is minus 2, that is also along the same direction. So the force, sorry, should I say force? I should say electric field, I'm sorry. So electric field at O due to charge at A and D would be along the direction of OD, and that would be 4k, because one, it is because they are going to add up, so that would be 4k along OD. Okay, and then you have the second one, due to charges at you have B and E. B and E is, in the similar logic, if I apply along B and E, it would be along OE, and this would amount to, it would be half of this, so it would be simply 2k, it would be 2k along OE. Okay, and then due to charges at, I have another pair is left at C and F, is again, because plus q minus q, so it would be again along 2k, but it would be amount of the magnitude of the force would be 2k, and it would be along OC. So if I just I can just pictorially speaking, so along one force is along OD, that is amount 4k, another one is along OE, that is 2k, and the another, this one is along OC, and that's also 2k, and you see that this angle is basically 45 degree. So the resultant force at O would be is simply 2k. Oh, I'm sorry, this should be, it's a hexagon, so yeah, these are equal, so this is obviously 60 degree. Okay, so I'm sorry, this has to be 60 degree. Okay, and therefore it would be 2k cos 60 degree along OD, right? This would be, all of them would be along this direction, but the one this perpendicular component would get cancelled out, so therefore resultant force would be along OD, 2k cos 60 degree, and this is also 60 degree, so you have another term because of that, that would be 2k cos 60 degree, and another would be 4k, and you see that this would be 6k along OD. Is that option is there? Yes, it is there, so option A is correct. Now what about the potential at O? Yeah, potential at O is 0 obviously, but let me show it exclusively. Potential a little bit more in detail. If I work it out, potential at point O would be sum of, you just have to find out 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, all the charges. This is the formula, and all of them are equally distant, so I can take this term out. So I will have 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 L, sum of all the charges, and if you can easily see that if you sum up all the charges, that is going to give you 0. So therefore this would be simply 0. Is that option is there? Yes, that option is also correct. Now the option C, the potential at all points on the line PR is same. Now if you look at the line PR, if you look at this line PR at any point, for any point on PR, we have pairs of, their equal and opposite charges are on the both sides, so are lying along this. So in fact this line is acting like a perpendicular bisector of the dipoles. This is one dipole, this is another dipole, this is another dipole. So it acting like a perpendicular bisector, and you know that the potential at this bisector is going to be 0. So therefore what I could say that potential at all points on the line PR is same. So that's correct. So this option is correct. Now what about the line, this one, fourth option, ST. Now ST is, you see, this along the axial line of the dipoles, so therefore obviously the potential at each point cannot be same, so this option is ruled out. So you are left out with correct option A, B and C are the correct options. So they are the correct options in this particular problem. Okay, let us do this problem now. It was asked in 2009 JEE Advanced. Under the influence of the Coulomb field of charge plus q, a charge minus q, small q, is moving around it in an elliptical orbit. Find out the correct statements. So statement A, option A, angular momentum of the charge minus q is constant, the linear momentum of charge minus q is constant, the angular velocity of charge minus q is constant, and fourth option B is linear speed of charge minus q is constant. Okay, let us do this problem. So if you see that the small charge minus q is moving in an elliptical orbit, and this charge plus q is sitting in one of the foci of the ellipse, so plus q, and this charge is say minus q. It's moving here, moving around in the elliptical orbit. So to find out the angular momentum, angular momentum is related to torque. Rate of change of angular momentum is torque. So therefore let us first find out what is the torque on charge minus q. Okay, so torque on charge minus q due to the Coulomb force, that would be if the distance between the charges, this is say r, okay, this is radial distance r, so that would be, force would be capital Q, then minus sign is there, and 4 pi epsilon 0, and the distance is r square. Let me say this is along r cap here, it is r cap direction. Now torque is torque is R cross F. Okay, now in this case it's easy to see that both R and F are along the same direction in the radial direction, so therefore it is simply 0. Okay, because both of them are this cross product. So, and now torque is equal to rate of change of angular momentum, which is equal to 0. So it implies that angular momentum L is constant. It's a constant. So the first option is correct. The angular momentum of the charge minus q is constant. Now what about the linear momentum? Is it constant? You can see that this force is rate of change of linear momentum, right? And but this is not non-zero. Force is not zero, so therefore P is not constant. P is not constant. So option C, B is not correct. This is not constant. What about the angular velocity? Now you see angular momentum is constant, so that means angular momentum, you know that will be m omega r square. Now because this guy L is constant, so to make it constant, omega should also vary because r is vary. So as L is constant, because r is anyway varying, right? Because r is different at different position here as it moving, so omega has to vary. L is constant, omega must vary because you have to keep L constant because r is varying. Omega or angular velocity, omega must vary. So angular velocity cannot be constant, right? The angular velocity of charge q is constant, which is not correct. It cannot be constant. Then finally the linear speed of the charge minus q is constant. Is it so? You see, speed is v is equal to omega into r. Now quite clearly, because omega is changing, r is changing, so therefore linear velocity is also changing, so it cannot be. Linear velocity is also not constant, so linear velocity is not constant. So what we can then say is that option D is also not correct. Only one option is correct, and that is option A. Okay, now let us do this problem. This was asked in 2011 JEE Advanced. 4-point charges each of plus q are rigidly fixed at 4 corners of a square planar soap film of side A. The surface tension of the soap film is gamma. The system of charges and planar film are in equilibrium, and A is equal to this, where k is constant and n. So this is an integer type question. You have to basically find out n. To find out n, you have to work out what the expression for A. Alright, so let us do it. So you are given a rigid kind of a square is there, and this, let me name it, this charge q is 4 charges are point charges, all of them are equal charge is put there. Let me name it as this side points as A, B, C, D. Alright, so how to do this problem? First of all, if you look at it, given in the problem, the surface tension of the soap frame is given to be gamma. So if I look at the side, say C, BC, I can see that force due to the surface tension, force on line BC due to surface tension is, because this is A, this is A, this is A, and therefore it's simply gamma A, and it would be alongside this direction. Now in equilibrium, if it has to be equilibrium, this has to be balanced and there has to be an equal and opposite force to this, that would be along this direction, and that has to be obviously due to the this electrostatic force. So let us find out the electrostatic force on this line BC then. But to do that, let us do the analysis little bit more carefully. If you look at the, say, point A here, now at the point, if you calculate the force at point A due to the charge at B, D and C. Okay, first say due to the charge at B, so this would be along this direction, right? Along this direction. And due to the charge at D, it would be along at D, it would be along this direction. And again, if you look at this one, because of the charge at C, it would be along this direction. And quite clearly, if you look at the resultant, okay, first of all, what about the magnitude? So let me say this one is F1, this is, okay, let me use the same color, this is F2, and this is, say, F3. Now F1 is obviously equal to, due to B, it would be Q square divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 A square, and which, for simplicity, I can write it as some constant K Q square by A square, Q square by A square, and right, K is equal to, capital K is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. And what about F2? F2 is also magnitude wise, this is also going to be the same, but F3, I'm now talking about, I'm writing the magnitude only. F3, it is very simple problem. You see, this distance is simply, this is A, this is A, so this would be root 2A from Pythagoras theorem. So therefore it would be Q square divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 2A square. So this is K Q square by 2A square. So that is my F3. So resultant force, now you see, this has to be 45 degree, right? So this is your 45 degree, this is 45 degree. So resultant force, let me write resultant force at A, at the point A, would be say F is equal to KQ square A square. This is 45 degrees, so it is be cos 45 degree. Similar would be for F2 also, so twice, and F3 is along, so resultant force would be actually along this direction, right? So along this direction, so that would be KQ square by 2A square. So I can write down the expression now as KQ square, capital K square A square, and cos 45 degree 1 by root 2, so this is 2, so it is root 2, and then I have here a half here. So that would be my force. Now actually, because all these are from symmetry, the same force would be at this side, at point B, point C, point D would also be there. So you are going to have, this is the kind of situation you are going to have. This force here is along this direction at this point A, B, C, D. Here also it would be along this direction, this 45 degree. This is F, Similarly here, okay, 45 degree, and it's also here 45 degree. Now, as I said earlier, that the surface tension force is gamma A, and that has to be in equilibrium. It has to balance by the electrostatic force. Now, if you see the electrostatic force on this line BC, due to, would be total would be F cos 45 degree, and from this point and in this point, so it is twice F cos 45 degree. So if you already I have worked it out, so you can write here that gamma A is equal to twice F. So if I just write this expression here, cos 45 degree is equal to 1 by root 2. So this is root 2 into F. F is K, Q square, A square, square root 2 half. So I have to find the expression for A. So if I take it this side, this would be A cube, and you will have root 2 capital Q, you have root 2 plus half, then you have Q square by gamma. Okay, so this is a constant term, so that is as given in the problem, the small k, Q square by gamma. So therefore your A is equal to actually in the problem, let me say this k0, and then k0 to the power 1 by 3. So that is a constant k, Q square by gamma 1 by 3. So if you look at the problem here, so Q square by gamma, this is some constant, so 1 by 3 we are getting, so n is equal to 3. So it's a simple problem. So your n is, I'm doing it in details, but some of you can do it within minutes now. N is equal to 3. Okay, so let us do another one. This is 4 charges. This is a matching type question. 4 charges Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 of the same magnitude are fixed along x-axis at x is equal to, okay, so this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, right? So this is the point, this charge Q is situated at a distance b, and there, you know, this is diagram is self-explanatory. What you are asked to find out is basically to find out the direction of the forces. So direction of the forces is given in column 2, and magnitude of the charge, actually not magnitude, because you see they are same magnitude. Sign of the charges is given in column 1. So depending on the sign of the charges, you are going to get force along different directions. So which direction will corresponding to this column 1 and column 2, you have to match it. So that is what the problem is. So these are the option. So let us do it. It's a simple problem from electrostatics, but you have to be in this kind of problem, it's you always have to be pretty mindful in doing it very carefully. You can do it. So first of all, magnitudes are equal. So Q1, Q2, Q3, all of them are equal in magnitude. Let me say that is equal to Q. Okay, actually not, because Q is already used there, so let me write Q dash. So this is Q. So let me go point by point here. In the first case, all of them are at point P. In column 1, P says Q1, Q2, Q, all positive. If all positive, then you see this is at 1, so Q1, Q2, so this is Q1 dash, Q dash, already magnitude is same, and now this time they are same charge, so it doesn't matter positive, negative, all of them are, say, okay, they are all positive, it matters. So Q dash, okay, so at 1 2 3 4, and here at we have the charge q. So let us find out the force due to these charges at this point q here. So from the position 1, you see this would be simply along this direction, and from the 4 this one, this would be again along this direction. So resultant would be something like this, because of the charges at 1 and position 1 and 4. Now due to the position at 2 and 3, this would be along again this direction, and this would be along this direction. So this would be again along this direction. So this was y cap, y, and this is x. So resultant force is along y cap direction, plus y cap direction. Okay, it's along in situation, first situation. Then the next one is q1 q2 positive, q3 q4 negative. q1 q2 positive, q3 q4 negative. So q1 q2 positive, q3 q4 negative. So this is what you have here. So now okay, so this is positive 1 2 3 4, and this is your charge q. Now if you look at it, because of this, again the force would be along this direction, and because of this the force would be along this direction. So resultant would be along this direction. Okay, along this is your x direction. But then what about due to position 2? This would be along, say, this direction, and because of this one 3, it would be along this direction. Okay, here also no issue, it would be along this direction. So resultant force in this case, resultant force is along plus x cap direction. Fine. Then come to this one, case R. q1 q4 positive, q2 q3 negative. So q1 q4 positive, q1 q4 positive, and q2 q3 negative. So in this case, again the same analysis, if I go by it, then this would be the force would be along this direction because of this, and because of the 1 2 3 4, because of the charge at position 4. Okay, let me do it a little bit. So this would be along this direction, so resultant would be along this direction. This would be the resultant due to charges at 1 and 4, and due to 2 and 3, this would be, sorry, this would be along, due to 2 and 3, this would be along this direction, and due to 3, it would be again along this direction. So due to 2 and 3, the force would be in the downward direction. But does they cancel out? It's not, because the magnitude of the forces would be different. So let me just note that down. Force magnitude force magnitude, if we look at, you see, due to at 1 and 4, because they are at the same distance, distance wise, because from this point O, so force at F1 magnitude wise, at force at due to 4 at here at the point Q, say this would be magnitude wise, it would be q dash divided by 4 pi epsilon 0. This distance due to 1, right, this distance would be how much? This distance is your twice A, and this distance is B. So by applying Pythagoras, I have B square plus 4A square. Okay, so this is what I'll have. And again, F2 is equal to F3. It would be q dash divided by 4 pi epsilon 0. This distance is A, and so therefore it would be simply A square plus B square. So it's very clear that the force at 2 3 would be greater than force at 1 4. So therefore now you see this downward force would be that which is due to 2 and 3 would be greater. So therefore in this case the resultant force will be in negative y direction. In fact, I can leave it for you to do that in this case, in the last case, where your Q1, Q3 positive, Q2, Q4 negative. In this case, if you work it out, the resultant would turn out to be, the resultant force will be along negative x direction if you work it out. So if you now look at the option here, if you note it down, you will find that option A is the correct one. So when Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 all positive, it matches the force direction is along plus y direction. When Q1, Q2 positive, Q3, Q4 negative, then it is along plus x direction, and Q1, Q4 in case R, it is along minus y direction, and the other case it will be along x direction. So therefore option A is the correct one in this particular problem. It was an easy problem. Now come to this problem. A particle of mass 10 to the power minus 3 kilogram and charge 1 coulomb is initially at rest. At time t is equal to 0, the particle comes under the influence of electric field, time varying electric field along, this is along x direction, I cap. Okay, so electric field amplitude and angular frequency is given. Consider the effect of only the electric force on the particle. Then the maximum speed in meter per second attained by the particle at subsequent time is. Okay, let us do this problem. It was asked in 2018 JEE Advanced. So the force on the particle due to the electric field is simply Q into E. Now we have to find out the speed or the velocity basically. So therefore from here you know the acceleration, that is F by m. Okay, and it is Q E by m. It is a simple problem because you know the acceleration is given by dv dt, and electric field is given as Q E0 E0 sine omega t, and it is along direction is I cap, it is along x direction. So you have to integrate it to find out the velocity. Suppose initially velocity is said to be at rest, so v is equal to 0 to some velocity v dv, and integration you have to do. So from time t is equal to 0 to some time t, so q is 0 by m sine omega t, and this is along I cap, so dt. Okay, actually this is okay, fine, then I can take it out. Q is 0 by m 0 to t sine I cap, let me take here, sine omega t dt. And if I integrate this one, this is simply going to give me v minus 0, v minus, actually if I say it is v0, okay, for your understanding let me write it like this, then v minus v0, that is equal to qe 0 by m I cap, and if you integrate it, you know this would be minus cos omega t by omega, and the integration limit it will be from 0 to t, and because v0 is equal to 0, initial speed is 0, velocity, so I have q is 0 by m minus sign, let me take out here, then I cap, and if I put the limits there, I will get cos omega t minus, omega also let me take out, it would be minus 1, so v I would get it as q is 0 by m omega, that is along x direction, and let me write it as 1 minus cos omega t, who is further I can write it in one single term, that would be I cap twice q e 0 by m omega, it would be sine square omega t by 2. Alright, so now what about the maximum speed? Maximum speed is obviously going to be, you will get maximum speed when this guy would become maximum, and the maximum of sine square omega t by 2 is simply equal to 1, so therefore the maximum speed would be twice q e 0 by m omega. Now all the values are given, and very friendly values are given to you. If you put down all the values are in same unit, SI unit, so it would turn out to be 2 meter per second. So the answer would be simply 2 meter per second. Okay, let us do this problem. This is a problem based on Gauss law, so let us do it. First of all, let me read out first. Charges q, 2q and 4q are uniformly distributed in 3 dielectric solid sphere, 1, 2 and 3, these are the solid sphere, of radius r by 2, r and 2r respectively. If magnitude of the electric field at point P at a distance r from the center of the sphere 1, 2, 3 are E1, E2, E3 respectively, then which are the correct option? Okay, let us do it. You have to find out the electric field. For example, in the first sphere, you see that you are asked to find out the electric field at the point P here, which is at a distance r. So you have to draw a Gaussian sphere. Okay, Gaussian sphere of radius r here, and then charge is inside there, so no problem. So you have here electric field, say E1, sphere 1, you have sphere 1, E1 into 4 pi r square, charge and close this q here, and divided by epsilon 0, so therefore electric field is simply q divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. Okay, so this is what you have for the first sphere. Now what about the second sphere? Second sphere is again similar, only here the radius is, charge is 2q. So second sphere, for sphere 2, you will get E2. Again you draw a, because the sphere itself you can take it as the Gaussian sphere, so E2 4 pi r square is equal to, charge is 2q by epsilon 0, so therefore E2 is equal to twice q divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. Immediately you see that this is twice of E1. Okay, so E2 is greater than E1. That is immediately, I think. But then if you look at D and C and D, A and B cannot be. So therefore you have to find out the last one also, sphere 3. Now in this case, this sphere has, the solid sphere has radius now 2r, but the charge is, and this charge 4q is distributed uniformly, but you are asked to find out the electric field at a point P which is inside the sphere, solid sphere, and it is at a distance r. So you take it as your Gaussian sphere. This is your Gaussian sphere. So that would be electric field into 4 pi r square, and you have to find out the charge enclosed here. Now charge enclosed, you see it is uniformly distributed, so charge per unit volume, that would be in the whole solid sphere, it would be 4q divided by 4 by 3 pi r cube. Here r is, radius is 2r. Okay, so 2r cube. So that's the charge per unit volume. So in the Gaussian sphere has volume, so therefore q enclosed, it's easy one. Q enclosed would be, this is a charge per unit volume and the Gaussian sphere volume, that is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So if you work it out, then you will see that this would turn out to be simply q by 2. So this implies that your E3 is equal to q divided by, in fact, 4 pi epsilon 0 r square, and then this is your half. So this is half of E1. Okay, so therefore which option is correct one? So you can see that in this problem your option C is the correct one, because E3 is less than E1 and E2 is greater than E1. So option 3 is the correct option here. Okay, finally let me do this problem. Consider an electric field E0, it is along x direction. Okay, E0 is a constant. The flux through the shaded region as shown in the figure due to this field is what? That's what you have to find out. This was asked in 2011. You know that the flux is given by, this formula, E dot ds. Now here the electric field is a constant, so therefore you can take the electric field out, so you will get electric field. And in fact this is what you are going to get, and this is going to give you electric field into S vector, dot product of the surface area vector you have to calculate. Now this surface area vector S would be given by this, cross product of these lines, cross product of the sides. So that would be this side, this side is A, it is along y direction only, A j cap, and you take the cross product with this one, and that is your A, it is along x and z only, so you have AI plus A k cap. And if you do it, first one, j cross I is going to give you minus k, and so a square, this would give you minus k, and j cross k is going to give you simply I cap. So this is what you will have. Okay, that means if I write it, I can write it like this, I cap minus k cap. So flux would be E dot S, E is E0 I cap dot A square I cap minus k cap. Okay, it's very simple. You will have simply E0 A square. Alright, so therefore the option, which option is correct? Option C is the correct correct one. Okay. So that's for today. I hope you have benefited by solving these problems on electrostatics.